There's a kind of news that doesn't arrive with the noise of a signing, but it can change the heartbeat of a season. It begins inside a player who spent months away from the field, staring down pain, silence, and the feeling that the world kept moving without him. Fred Warner is back now, and he doesn't sound like a man trying to reclaim his place. He wants to remind the NFL who controls the heart of this defense. What comes next raises the stakes again. Protection for Purdy, a historic weapon on offense, and a win over the Rams before the first meeting even starts. Subscribe to 49ers Express, because today's emotion has consequences. Fred Warner isn't coming back looking for some old version of himself. That's what makes this story so powerful. After missing the second half of 2025 in the playoffs with an ankle injury, he could have entered this season talking about caution, finding his rhythm, or easing back into action. Warner chose different language. He called himself a maniac on the field and admitted that the All-Pro selections, Pro Bowls, and incredible plays from his past give him absolutely nothing when Week 1 of 2026 arrives. That lands differently for fans who watch this defense try to survive without its commander. Warner isn't just the linebacker who closes space, anticipates routes, and turns the correct read into a loss of yards. He controls the confidence level. When he's healthy, everybody around him seems to move faster because there's a mind organizing the chaos in the middle of the field. San Francisco now plans to explore something that could make his return even more aggressive, matching him against running backs more often on pass rush opportunities. Picture the problem that creates for an opposing protection. If a running back has to block Warner, the physical edge and explosion favor number 54. If the offensive line adjusts to give that back help, another lane opens for the defensive front. This isn't about turning Warner into an edge rusher or taking him away from what he does best. It's about trusting his intelligence to choose the right moments to attack and forcing the offense to show its answers before the snap. There is a concern here. He turns 30 this season and is coming off a brutal injury. His body has to respond once the collisions begin piling up, and nobody understands the cost of relying on a roster that can't stay healthy better than the 49ers. But Warner isn't acting like the adversity never happened. He absorbed it. He talked about faith, hard work, dedication, commitment, and discipline as the road that brought him back. That mindset can't guarantee health. It does show why nobody with any sense should label him a fading star before watching him step onto the field again. This almost feels personal. While parts of the league may have grown comfortable with Sundays that didn't include Fred Warner, he spent that time storing every doubt. The defense also gets back the voice that recognizes a formation, fixes an alignment, and keeps one dangerous play from growing because of a second of hesitation. If this maniac mode comes with more freedom to attack the backfield, his return becomes more than a recovery story. It could be the spark that gives this defense its personality back. San Francisco needs to reach January creating fear, not asking for recognition. Warner's past explains who he is. His next snap begins the answer to how much higher he can take this team. Warner's intensity also exposes an obligation on offense. Getting the emotional heart of this defense back means little if Brock Purdy is left vulnerable up the middle. The competition at left guard cannot be treated like some training camp experiment. Between Trent Williams and the rest of the interior sits a position without a proven answer, right where pressure reaches the quarterback fastest and destroys the timing of the running game. That's why Jackson Powers-Johnson is worth a phone call from John Lynch to Las Vegas. He was a second-round pick and has started NFL games at both left guard and center. He's young, powerful, and versatile enough to compete for the job immediately. He wouldn't arrive as another project who might be ready 2 years from now. Next to Trent, he would have an opportunity to add force to the ground game and stability to the pocket from the inside. The possibility comes from what has changed with the Raiders. Tyler Linderbaum is locked in at center, while Powers-Johnson is battling for one of the guard spots. A new coaching staff may prefer a different combination. That doesn't automatically put him on the trade market, but it creates a reasonable reason to ask. If he loses ground during camp, the price and Las Vegas's willingness to listen could change. San Francisco needs to know that answer before another team recognizes the same opening. The fit makes sense beyond the name. Powers-Johnson has the size to deal with powerful defensive tackles, the movement ability to work in zone blocking concepts, and the experience to cover an emergency at center. He wouldn't fix all 5 positions by himself. He would offer something far more realistic and valuable. A chance to stabilize the one spot Shanahan may otherwise have to protect with play calls and protection adjustments. A mid-round pick, conditional compensation, or a player and pick package could start the conversation, depending on how the Raiders value him. I'm not calling for a blank check. I'm calling for aggressive curiosity. A contender doesn't wait until September to discover that its weakest gamble was lined up directly in front of the quarterback. If Powers Johnson is even somewhat attainable, Lynch needs to find out the price. Protecting Purdy and giving McCaffrey room to run with confidence isn't a roster luxury in real games. It's the kind of quiet decision that keeps a season alive when the games get physical and the plan starts taking punches. Then we get to a presence that can change the way players watch a meeting. George Kittle said he has to pinch himself every day because Mike Evans is on this roster, and he called him a Hall of Famer. That doesn't feel like a compliment for the cameras. It sounds like recognition that Shanahan finally has a veteran who can give this wide receiver room a standard that reaches beyond the numbers. Evans produced 11 straight seasons with at least 1,000 receiving yards, a mark also reached by Jerry Rice. In 2025, however, hamstring problems and a broken collarbone limited him to 8 games, 30 catches, 368 yards, and 3 touchdowns. At 32, the question isn't whether his career deserves respect. It's how much of that vertical threat will still appear after such a punishing year. Evans described the time away as a blessing in disguise and said he feels rejuvenated in a new environment. If his body backs up that feeling, Purdy gains something this offense hasn't had in this form. A 6'5" target who competes at the catch point and can punish single coverage downfield. Shanahan highlighted that combination: his release, his long arms, and the way he attacks vertically. His arrival also reshapes everybody else's responsibility. Ricky Pearsall, Christian Kirk, and rookie De'Zhaun Stribling don't have to carry the full weight of replacing everything that left the room. They get to learn from a player whose preparation has already built a Canton-level career. Mike Evans doesn't need to chase his youth. He needs to turn experience into an advantage when a third down or one ball in the end zone separates a good campaign from something unforgettable. After everything his body endured, watching him come alive again in red and gold would carry a special kind of emotion. One of the players who can grow under Evans' shadow has already created discomfort for the dangerous rival in the division. According to Adam Schefter, some teams considered De'Zhaun Stribling the best wide receiver in the draft, and the Rams were among the clubs watching him. San Francisco knew it wasn't alone in that evaluation. That's why the 49ers passed on the chance to trade out of the first pick in the second round and selected him at number 33. That detail puts the decision in a different light. Stribling was coming off 55 catches, 811 yards, and 6 touchdowns in his season at Ole Miss. At the Combine, he ran the 40-yard dash in 4.36 seconds. The consensus may have viewed that spot as too early. The 49ers saw speed, size, and a player other scouting departments also rated highly. When a rival is waiting further down the board, trading back can mean placing your conviction into its hands. Los Angeles wouldn't pick again until number 61 and eventually selected tight end Max Clare. The Rams waited until the 6th round to address wide receiver with C.J. Daniels. None of this proves Stribling will become a star, and it doesn't turn draft night into a victory. Training camp still has to happen. So do the adjustment to the playbook, chemistry with Purdy, and the production against NFL defenders. The choice does reveal that John Lynch understood the board and accepted the cost of certainty. There's something delicious about the consequence. The Rams have Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams at the top, but they were looking for more upside behind them. The player McVay reportedly wanted can wear red and gold against Los Angeles twice every season. Stribling also offers another trait that matters in that system: a willingness to block, which fits Shanahan's football just as well. Let's take the temperature of this fan base now. Tell me in the comments what bothers the Rams more: Stribling's speed, his potential in this offense, or the fact that San Francisco read their intentions first. I'm not handing out a trophy over an April draft pick. Still, beating a rival's read before you get the chance to beat that rival on the field has value. If Stribling delivers, every NFC West meeting will carry the reminder that the Rams saw that talent coming, and the 49ers got there first. No single answer in today's news can decide the season, and maybe that's exactly why these stories are so powerful. Warner wants to turn pain into controlled violence. Powers Johnson represents a door Lynch should test. Evans offers the kind of experience that can elevate an entire room. Stribling carries the dangerous satisfaction of slipping through the Rams' hands. Different paths, same demand. Surround talent with decisions that will hold up when pressure arrives. Pick your side in the comments now. Which of these 4 stories could change the 49ers' fate the most? Leave a like, subscribe to 49ers Express, and come live every chapter of this journey with us.